Hello, my friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Rajneesh. I brought one of the interesting Azure service from the Azure cloud. That is Azure Bastion service. I think it is not something new to many people, but definitely what we are going to talk about that is going to be useful for some people for sure. And I'm guessing and I'm uh, believing that you must be using Azure Bastion in your Azure cloud for sure. But there are newcomers, new people who are, exploring or, you know, using the cloud. Definitely, it is going to be useful for them. And for the existing people, it can be a refresh for you people. So today we will talk about Azure Bastion services and the enhanced feature of Azure Bastion where this can be integrated with two or more virtual networks, right? So let's get started. So today we will talk about and just cover up. These are the pointers. We'll talk about why Azure Bastion benefits, features, and architecture diagram, and there are some limitations as usual. Other cloud services have. So in this service also it has some limitations. We will talk about and dig deeper. So let's continue. And please excuse me if I skip few slides. That may be the repetitive one or may not be meaningful. Okay, so introduction to Azure Bastion, right? These are the major benefits or use cases we can think of about the Azure Bastion, right? It can help you to connect your virtual machine securely. It can act as a jump server, right? And then it will also improve the security in the cloud infrastructure. These are the major highlights. Now let's move on to the use cases. So typically we can think of three use cases, but that is not limited. You may have many, but I am going to talk about these three use cases for sure, and that will also help you understand. And I'm sure this will also be applicable to you as well. So Azure Bastion secure remote administration, right? So basically, this enables remote administration securely and related to the cloud resources and without exposing them to the public internet, right? It can also helps IT team to troubleshoot in the real time by providing the direct access to the virtual machines even securely, right? And Azure Bastion simplifies the process of accessing application those hosted on the virtual machines without need for a VPN, right? Okay, how this is going to enhance security? First, it is going to eliminate the public IP addresses, and it will all the traffic will be routed through the Azure backbone. So it's only private connectivity you're going to have. And then, last but not the least, the secure connection, right? The users who are connecting to the virtual machine, they will be also secure. Okay, and simplified management. It's easy to manage and remote connection. This Azure Bastion can integrate with many Azure services, and it is again streamline the administration process. So quickly, now this is the point I would like to highlight, and we'll spend 30 seconds here. See, you must be thinking or that how a Azure service can help the cost benefit, right? Because infrastructure is always be a cost center, right? Now, the first benefit, the cost saving, right? This utilizing Azure Bastion can lower your expenses by minimizing the requirement for multiple public IP addresses and the VPN gateways. We all have, public IP addresses assigned to the virtual machine, or if you want to connect from on-prem to cloud resources, especially the virtual machine, we have to have a VPN, right? So there's a huge cost on that side, right? And we are going to remove or we are going to reduce the cost by implementing the Azure Bastion service, right? That's number one. Second, if one can leverage the Bastion service, the organization can optimize their resources effectively across the multiple virtual networks. So you have to just spin one Azure Bastion service, and at the back end, you can have one, two, or many VNets. You don't need to create the VNet wise Bastion, right? So that's again a huge saving on the multiple VNets and its integration, right? Let's move on. Yeah, these are the security benefits that you will be able to connect your Windows virtual machine using RDP or Linux machine using SSH securely, right? And but I'll not spend too much of time here. Let's move on to the next slide. As I told you, I'll be skipping few slides for sure. Integration with Azure services, yeah, this got integrated with all the major services on the cloud side, Azure cloud side. So let me skip that. Now, this is the important point I think we talked about. Elimination of public IP addresses, right? Azure Bastion removes the necessity of the public IP addresses on the virtual machine, enhancing the security. Guys, please understand, you don't need to assign a public IP address on your virtual machine with any use case. You don't need public IP and its assignment on the virtual machine. This can be taken care of by Bastion, right? Yes, risk we already talked about, and I think you must be hearing and encountering with the IT security that if they found any public IP addresses being used or not assigned orphaned, I think you have to be you have you know you have undergone the security audits and everything, right? So it is not advisable to use more public IP addresses, right? Because it is prone to vulnerable and threats perception always there. Now the simplified network configuration, Azure Bastion basically simplifies your overall networking setup and make it easier to manage because one VNet, one Bastion, your job is done. It's so simple. Now let's understand a little bit about the architecture of Bastion, how it works. So there are three pillars and components in this diagram. First, in the left hand side, you'll see the users and the Azure Microsoft portal. The user connects to the Microsoft portal, and in between we have a hub VNet where the Bastion has been deployed or represented. On the right hand side, we have two Spock VNet where the virtual machines are running. So only requirement here is to use the shared Bastion. We need to pair the Spock VNet with the hub VNet where the Bastion is configured or running, right? And then it will be able to connect all your backend virtual machine efficiently. And this, please mindful, we have got five types of SKU for the Azure Bastion, and this representation is talking about basic architecture and over, right? So we have one more SKU which is absolutely free from the Microsoft side that is called, you know, oh, sorry, my mistake. Actually, earlier it was the overall architecture. Now we are talking about the basic SKU and the its deployment model, right? So in the mid, you'll see the one Bastion is there with Azure Bastion subnet, and now on the right hand side, it is connecting to multiple subnets and multiple virtual machines. So see, this is the typical example of basic SKU and the upper layer of the SKUs, right? We'll see how many SKUs are there from the Microsoft side, right? And that is absolutely free. The development edition, development SKU, it is absolutely free. The only limitation you have is that this Bastion service is going to reside and you have to configure 4 VNets, right? It is not going to work in the shared model the way we talked about in the basic and the earlier, the overall the topic that we are going to talk about today. This is one-to-one mapping, but having said that, this is also important. But at the same time, it has got some limitations, right? The security, networking things you won't be able to do that. You won't be getting that, like auto scaling and everything. But at the same time, you'll have a connectivity. You can make your hands dirty if you really want to test the Azure best in your environment, right? And high availability is their byproduct. It got integration with load balancer, and you don't need to worry about redundancy and the reliability. Okay, and we'll quickly move on. Now let's talk about the limitations, right? So as like other Azure services or the cloud services, it has also got some limitations. And those are, it is limited to multi-factor authentication. Azure Bastion currently does not support all types of multi-factor authentication used by traditional VPNs, which may impact your security. That's number one. You can't compare this service with your existing VPNs. It is not a replacement of your existing VPN, right? That's number two. Second, before implementing any new service or new component in your infrastructure, please validate, plan, and then you go for implementation, because you will always end up seeing the last minute surprises, which you can avoid if you do the planning and consider the challenges, right? Because better your infrastructure. Okay, so here you can see there are six types of SKU present here. Starting from the Azure Bastion developer, I shown you in the diagram. This is one-to-one mapping to the VNet. So per VNet, you have to create one developer edition to connect, right? But in the basic and above, you'll see there is a charge for that. Basic starts from 0.9 cents per hour, right? And then you'll go with standard instance, and then premium, the premium instance, right? And you'll see there's a increase in the cents. So dollar value will keep increasing if you go with the higher version, right? But the configuration or the shared model you can always achieve from the basic and the above one, like standard, premium, right? But the developer is absolutely free. You can see the diagram, and this table is from the Microsoft, right? So you can always go to Microsoft public documents and you'll get these details from there. Okay, that's all from my side on the Azure Bastion. I hope you like the video, you like the content. If you think that I can improve, feel free to put in the highlight and share your feedback in the chat section. And this was just an overview about the Azure Bastion. In the upcoming video, I'll try to make sure that I will cover step by step thing, both the strategy, the basic and above, and developer edition, how this can be useful or how you're going to use that. All right. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.